Disclaimer: I do not mean to offend anybody with this video. If I get anything wrong, feel free to correct me in the comments, but I'd appreciate if you were nice about it. After all, I'm just a stupid kid obsessed with flags. And if it helps, I'm ethnically half Chinese myself. Alright, on with the video. Flags are more than just a piece of fabric. They represent the identity and history of a nation. In that sense, the Chinese flag is horseshit. It's boring, shows little to no personality, and all around is just shit. The only interesting thing about the flag is it's the flag with the most red on it, percentage wise. So, following the series of redesigning flags and following the Bosnian flag redesign I made, link in the description, it's time to redesign this flag as well. The current flag shows a red bedsheet with 5 stars, 1 big, 4 small. The red bedsheet represents the Chinese Communist Revolution after the Second World War, and the stars represent the relation between the people and the Chinese Communist Party, with the big star representing the government or the Chinese Communist Party, and the little stars representing the people with its different classes. Now that is the reason why I kinda don't like the flag. Besides the flag being boring, the main meaning, at least in my eyes, is politics, and a flag shouldn't be about that. A flag to me is something that stands for the country, the people, and the culture, and all around what makes the country special. It's something people can wave with pride and feel a little closer to home. And China is a country with exactly that. Rich culture, great people, a lot of them too, Jesus Christ, 1.4 billion. And most importantly, a interesting history. Now for the flag I'm about to design, to make a little more sense and for you to understand why I made things the way I did, I should probably mention while China and Taiwan are culturally pretty similar, it is pretty much impossible for me to make a flag where both sides agree with it, because their ideologies, relations, and government are so different. For the flag to make sense, I should mention how I see China and Taiwan, and that is they are basically the same to me. Well, not exactly. One is a little more communist than the other. But politics aside, the people can understand each other. Maybe the dialect is a bit different, and they share the same culture, and that's the most important thing to me. That's also why I'm only making one flag for both, because they share the same history. The flag will be based off of history and culture anyway, I promise. To clear things up, China is not better than Taiwan, and Taiwan is not better than China. Great, now that I got that out of the way, I can start the historical context. Now, China has a complex history, so I'll just oversimplify it. So at the start, there was an emperor, I forgot the name, and he created a dynasty. That dynasty was called the Chai dynasty. That dynasty lived a good life until its government got corrupt. Then the next dynasty would rise, the government would get corrupt, and that cycle repeats. Now there were 13 dynasties until the First Republic got created. Now the flag history of China is rather complicated, mainly because it doesn't exist. Anything before the Qing dynasty is kind of a blur. Historians to this day still debate if the Chinese even had a flag before the Qing one. And truth is, no. The Chinese didn't have an official state flag and didn't know what the concept of a state flag actually was. They kind of just had symbols on pieces of cloth to symbolize, hey, we are part of this dynasty, if you're not from here, then fuck off. But those banners kind of just comprised of a Chinese character on a piece of cloth with some design on it if you're lucky. Except for the Yuan dynasty, which had this cool Mongolian design, which I find very sick. Now the concept of a state flag is so abstract to the Chinese that it even took the Qing dynasty like 200 years until they first adopted this banger of a flag, which I think they should keep. And then a flag history kind of becomes clear. The revolution to a republic happened. They adopted the 5 stripe flags, but people got pissed at it because they thought the stripe meant that the Han Chinese were more important than the others. So they adopted the current flag of Taiwan. Then the Communist Revolution happened, the nationalists fled to the island of Taiwan, and the communists took over the mainland, adopting the current flag of China in the process. This history also had its effect on the culture. As the dynasties grew, a lot of tribes around it got eaten up. That's why inside of modern day China you have Muslims and Turkic culture in the northwest, for example, Mongols near the Gobi Desert. Fun fact, there are actually more Mongolians within China than within Mongolia. Tibet, which is culturally closer to Bhutan and Nepal, and many, many more. But most of the country follows the Han Chinese culture, which is named after the fourth dynasty, the Han Dynasty, which is the culture you think of when you hear China. That's also why making a new flag for this country is kinda complicated. Fun fact, that's what they tried with this flag, the five tribes, with each tribe representing a different culture, but too many people got pissed off at it since some cultures were higher than others. Because of this, I don't see a way for me to make a flag without pissing someone off. Someone is bound to get mad at me. Now, I can imagine why China chose to make the entire flag about politics, but that's boring, so I won't do it. After a lot of thought and more thought and also a lot of research, and hey, did I mention thought? Now the reason why I put a lot of thought into this is because I was really careful not to piss everyone off, but I know that is impossible, so I'm just gonna put a dragon on the flag since most cultures in China have some form of Chinese dragon in it. The dragon represents strength, wisdom, and protection. Now, before the Qing Dynasty flag, there were 8 banners to unite people under the Qing Dynasty. But somewhere everything went wrong and the 8 banners along with the Qing Dynasty was removed in its entirety. But I knew I wanted to incorporate these 8 banners somehow since they're historical, which is kind of the point of the video, and I think they're cool. Now I think the yellow-red color combination fits China. Red in Han Chinese at least means luck and prosperity. However, the yellow on the Qing Dynasty flag meant imperialism, since it was the color of the emperor. So I'm not going to put a whole lot of yellow on it. Now, to explain to you why I made the flag the way I made it, I'm going to show you the final flag I made. Are you ready to see it? Of course you are. You have been waiting for however long this video is. Here it is. Now, I chose a red background because with the yellow background, the dot had to be red, and that looks too much like Japan to me, so no on that one. Then I kept the circle from the Qing Dynasty flag and put 8 triangles around it, which are kind of supposed to show the flames and are colored after the 8 banners, which I thought was really clever. By the way, I tried to make a flag design using the Qing Dynasty dragon, but then I realized that kind of looks like shit, which is actually why you kind of saw me fucking around with the Qing Dynasty flag in the background of the historical context. Now I put the whole Chinese dragon. Originally I only put the head on it, but that looks something straight out of Cobra Kai, and I didn't like that. I did try making one with a lotus flower on it, but that would have been not as clean as this one, and it would have looked too much like Hong Kong. Also, the flag I made with a lotus flower on it looked a bit too communist for me. Now back to the other one. I also like how the shape kinda looks like the Taiwan sun. I also like how I just mistaken it for a sun, just like how I did with the Qing Dynasty flag. It's not a sun, it's a pearl, I promise. Now that is about with the video. If you enjoyed, I'd be happy if you like and share the video. Also comment what you think of the flag. I'm open for any flag ideas in the comments. And I'll see you in the next video. And if you couldn't tell by now, my voice is fucked. Thank you very much for listening.